Evening, everybody. This is Devin with the Christ Light and Love Center from the middle of the Burkesville, Kentucky vortex. And this evening I'm coming at you, and I've got a couple gentlemen with me, Matt and Jim, from the TNKY Bigfoot. That's their channel there on YouTube, and you can find them there. But I decided to ask these guys to come on the show tonight for a few different reasons. Number one is they've got, I think, obviously by the name of their channel, they've got some Bigfoot experience. But I think the second reason, actually I had reached out to Jim a few months ago and kind of tried to get him to come on, and I couldn't get him then, but I seem to have been fortunate enough to get him now. But they are talking about some experiences that, and I'm not going to spoil it for everybody. I'm going to let them kind of unpack this for you. But they're talking about some serious experiences that are going outside of Bigfoot. And I guess you could probably say speaking to other elementals and other beings. And just an FYI to our audience, this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy one, but we're going to make it a good one. But I've decided that there's just no way, even if you've got all the Bigfoot experience and all the paranormal experience that I have, to me, their story is just there's no way that anybody can unpack this in an hour. So we're going to probably break this down into about 3 hours so that we can all kind of consume it and make sense of it. On my end here as the host, right, I'm not here to deny anything that they've seen or that they've witnessed. Although because I've had my own witnessing, everybody, I'm just not going to make it completely easy on them. You know, if the shit gets too thick, I might have to call them to the table on a thing or two. That's all right, though. But past that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you guys. If you would, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
All right. I'm Jim, and this is my son, Matt. And we do have a YouTube channel, TNKY Bigfoot. Probably about 3 years ago, we're out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Tell you that much. And we're prospectors. We're backwoods campers. I used to run EastTennesseeCaves.com. I'm an explorer. I'm a woods man. I love woods. We live in the woods. We're in the country. And
You're
right
a spelunker, right?
What's that?
A spelunker.
Yep, Spelunker.
Yep.
I used to run East Tennessee Caves. And I got some.
A side note, I had a buddy that used to like crawl down those suckers and spend like a week in caves. I'm like, you're crazy. I'm like, anything past a few hours. Anyway, sorry guys, go ahead.
That's a whole nother world. Like I said, 3 years ago, we were studying orbs. 4 or 5. Oh, geez, you were a kid.
When I was a kid,
10 years old, we were studying orbs. So anyway, I'm a world traveler, ex-Air Force, the nuclear world. Was in there 10 years. Met my wife in South Dakota.
Wait a minute. Okay. You just can't do that. Wait a minute. Back up just a bit. Nuclear world. Were you playing in that field?
Yeah, I'm nuclear. I'm trained on every payload in the United States Air Force nuclear payload.
Okay. Gotcha. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep it rolling.
Yeah,
keep it rolling, brother.
I'm a 463 PRP program. Anybody want to verify all that stuff? But anyway, top secret.
Somebody in my audience, I'm sure, is going to know about it.
That's fine. B-61, SRAM, Alchem, Glickem, all of it. Okay. Re-entry vehicles, you name it. Anyway, that's a side topic. I know, you know how it is, but there people have trust problems with people, and I get all that.
Well, no, I appreciate it, brother, because, that's this conversation before we came on air here, is that if anybody did decide to say, hey, wait a minute, who is this guy? I mean, come on, most people's stuff's not that deep. People don't have to go very far anymore to find everybody's information, so I appreciate you bringing that right to the table. But I'm going to have to say, that could be a completely new, that could be another hour, 2 hours, so go with where we are tonight.
Yeah, no problem. And so anyway, I met my wife up in South Dakota, and we ended up going to England. We have 3 boys. We have, one. Matt's our youngest one, and we live out here in the country. We've got rental properties. We also were over-road truck drivers for years. Me and my wife threw away our professional careers. We worked for Boeing. I've worked for DOE, DOD, DOT. I think all the D's. But last about probably 3 or 4 years ago is when we were out. The first experience, we were out prospecting for gold in Coker Creek, Tennessee. Me and Matt, we've been in the creek the entire week digging, and digging for gold. And that night, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but to be short, we had a Bigfoot come run up the creek, and it happened like 7 times. And
Passed us 7 times.
Anyway, I'm not going to go into the details of these stories because they're long stories.
Well, hold on. 7 times. What was he doing? Calisthenics back and forth up the creek that night?
Yes. Toosh, coming up the creek, running up the creek.
1, back down, 2, and they did it 7 times.
So now, Matt, how old were you at that time? Can we try to give the audience an idea here?
Graduated high school.
You're 27. You're 27, right now, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
27 right now, today. Type of deal.
Yeah, this was about 4 years now. Probably.
Yeah, it's been about 5 years.
But like I said, we were down at Hammer's Campground, which is down in Coker Creeks, and you could check their reservation. You see, we were there. Plus, I've left their stuff on I've left her stuff on her Facebook account about the experience. But the 6th night, that was our first understanding that there's something with 2 legs running up and down these mountains, and there was hound dogs chasing them. And there was a herd that went over our tent. Like I said, I'm trying to give you the overview. So that was our first experience.
There's my question. You're both your first. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first time. Well,
he had another one prior.
Yeah, prior to that, I was backwoods camping. I was
in high school still.
Yeah, I was
that time period.
Yeah, I was backwoods camping in Big South Fork, and I went out by myself, about a 4-mile hike out under Angel Falls, and I got the EBGBs, and I thought something was watching me, so I ended up sitting with my back towards the creek or the river, and then went to bed. And something shook my tent real violently. And I just looked up and came through, and I controlled my heartbeat and told it, tried to calm down so it wouldn't go up too high. And I didn't. I thought it was a raccoon. I really never knew what that was, a bear. But something really violently shook my tent. So that was the first one. And then me and Matt had our experience down at Coker Creek. And then probably 3 years after that was the bad experience we had in Kentucky. Yeah, we went up to Kentucky and put out some trail cams.
Now, hold on. I think there's a lot of, I don't want to call them this siding or wrong sides, but you sure it wasn't one of them meth monsters we got here in Kentucky?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was
it was a meth monster?
A what monster? Sorry.
A meth monster. Yeah, we got a lot of those running around Kentucky.
Well, no, unless they climb up in the trees and shake the holy hell out of the trees. I think it was something else.
If he shake the tree so hard that it was knocking the tops, then maybe. But I don't think a human was able to do that. I can't even recreate it.
I'm playing. We got a lot of, I think, crazy sightings going on out here, and I think you know what I mean now, right?
And like you said in the beginning, we're trying to go forward with more than Bigfoot, and I'm just giving. That's why this is not about the Bigfoots.
Well, okay, so everybody and almost, well, at least out here in Burkesville, Kentucky, right? Everybody and their mom's seen one or, run into one or, at least knows somebody direct relation who has, right? And, so we're ultimately, one reason that I'm breaking this down is because it's not just a handful of different Bigfoot stories, but it's to boil and eventually get to where you guys are today and what you're experiencing and what you're running in today. So can you, again, without too much, can you bring it back to me and share with our audience again, after we sort of unpack a little bit about some of where Matt was kind of coming up and his part through this. Let's back the audience up and say, all right, no, this is where we're at today. But again, we're not covering all that tonight. But we're, that 30,000 foot overview then, Matt or Jim, what would that look like for our audience? So we've got the couple experiences of Bigfoot up here, up to maybe just about 5 years ago, Matt, for you, your first one. But, that's 5 years ago. And I know myself, this stuff can unpack and start to unfold real fast and almost can get away from you. So can you give me an idea, though, where you guys are at today, right, without, muddying the waters, as we said?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So like I was saying, our last experience was in Kentucky, and then we felt we needed to document this information. I'm a very analytical person, so we felt like we needed to document this. This is when we basically started a YouTube channel. I've got like 800 subs and I don't know 100 videos, but we started gifting. We started doing more, getting more, I don't know, understanding as far as there's things that are unnatural that are spiritual. So that was our beginning of realizing there's more than, like I said, I've been exploring I've been a prospector for gold. I love caving. So now we're starting to find ourselves in a spiritual kind of thing. And so we started.
So that's where you just were. And I wanted to go back to that. So let me see if I can summarize what you're saying. If I'm getting it wrong, you correct me. But you've kind of gone on that spiritual path, you feel like.
Yeah, that got us going into.
Because you said
there's something spiritual going on in the woods. We were having events happen to us. We would gift, and we would see all kinds of things where we would communicate with paper. We would draw pictures, and they would, like, for example, we drew this picture and it had a picture of the sun, and they folded the sun out
twice, 2 folds.
So,
wait a minute, Matt and Jim, these are just, if anything, they're just big, dumb apes able to multi-dimensionally jump, right? Now, come on now. What are you talking?
Yeah,
no, guys. I mean, this is one reason I've got the guy. This is one reason I've got the guys on, everybody, is because my own experience has been that, you can go searching for Bigfoot all you want. All you really need to do is raise your vibration, do some of your inner work, and go on that spiritual path. And Bigfoot's going to find you. But guys, sorry, I know again, you guys are getting into some things that for some people already have had experience with Bigfoot might be a bit much. I'm just saying I'd stay tuned, everybody, because I'm still digging it.
Yeah, we wasn't. My wife would tell you, I'm either been fishing or I'm in the woods. So I didn't spend no time learning from Bigfoot people. I wasn't into the Bigfoot. I didn't even know there's Bigfoot videos out there. We just started we went back the week after we had the holy hell scared out of us. And we're in a tent. But we're going new moon. Yeah, we went out. We're like, we got to go back because I will not be scared.
You had the holy hell scared out of you and you wanted more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went back because we love the woods.
I love the woods.
We can't just leave the woods. If my home's gonna be like that, man, I gotta find out what's going on spiritually and physically.
Okay, so wait, did you feel that first time when you went back? Were you kind of like, pissing your mark in the ground? Maybe is that kind of what you thought, or was it more just curiosity?
No, we went back. And we were putting out little dolls and little rocks, and things were happening. The dolls were moving, the little rocks were moving, and we really wasn't getting any answers to our question of what happened that night. And I remember we hiked out down from Kentucky down into Tennessee, and we come across some very unusual trees that were all leaning. And we went up this valley, and we found all these graves, all these burial mounds. And so we're fascinated with that. So I don't know where we come up with the ideas, and we started taking apples out and doing things and videotaping and recording. We'd go up, we'll do a one-nighter and start producing, we were producing content of, look at this, our camera, we would ask a question and it would vibrate like it was answering us. And so we were starting to, I don't know what you want to call that stuff, trying to figure out what is out in the woods. I think at that time we were running into a lot more than Bigfoot, but we didn't know.
Mm-hmm. And that's on, on a side note for everybody out there. I mean, this is just my practice. When I go out there, particularly if I want to have that interaction with Bigfoot or whatever it is, I'm very specific about my intent, and I'll even, do a clearing, if you will, or a clearing of the land to try to make sure that, because you just never know. I've seen some people go out there. If you've seen these videos recently, guys, these guys who are, I mean, don't get me wrong, channeling is a real thing and everybody can do it. You can do it. I can do it. There are some people who are much better than others, But I've seen people who've got they've never done it before a day in their life, don't understand spiritual, protection or any of that, have no spiritual background, and they're diving into the woods, and it's like they think they're channeling Bigfoot. It's like you could be channeling who knows what the hell you're channeling. But no,
Well, we went up and we had a change of attitude. Now we had guns, we had ammo, we had built
axes, and
we looked
spears.
like the army. I thought whatever that was evil, and so we were not messing around. We was not messing around. I can't remember. Tina was going with us. I can't remember what brought us to start having more of a conversation with them. I don't know what happened, but we were. So we started. I would say it was about a 3-year journey, 3-year documentation on YouTube. We started. We had a friend, and he's a Choctaw, and so he was helping us open our spiritual eyes, I guess you could say, by just realizing that there's Bigfoots and these things in the woods. And so what's come around and what I want to get to is where we're at, because like I said, this whole topic is just leading up to what's happened. Now Matt has had abilities to like telepathy, talk to trees and stuff, and so I did a few videos. I've got like 3.
Okay, and just before my audience decides to tune out, Devin, you tuned me out there talking with trees. No, guys, I've talked with plants, and I've got verification. I've talked with plants, so that was one of the other things I liked about Matt's story. Is it's okay, the guy's he's into talking with nature. I know it's possible, and it sounds as though he may have been gifted at a young age with that.
Right. Yeah. And he's got more. He can tell you more about the details about he cut it off and then it turned back on. And I support him because me and him have been through some crazy times together, and I trust him. And also, like I said, I had, like, for example, I got 3 videos of him talking to a tree, but I didn't put them out public. They're unlisted because there's this stereotypical thing about people that could do that you're a witch or you're a all that. So.
Well, let's. I think maybe we could frame this in a little bit. And Matt, I don't really understand necessarily why you or why myself. It sounds like you're more gifted as the people who can speak with plants. But this is the bottom line. Whether you want to take it from a Christian viewpoint, a Buddhist standpoint, that Hindu standpoint, is that the Christian won't talk about the idea of samadhi or nirvana or the way the Hindus speak to it, a Brahmin, but these are the highest states of consciousness, whatever avenue you want to look at. But any good yogi, any good Buddha master who's been to these spaces is going to tell you that when you are there, you are one with everything. Not only, do a lot of people get that on a conceptual level, but Matt and other people like him and myself, we are realizing it on a more of a spiritual level and something that's actually tangible. And yes, when you reach Brahman, you get any of these places that they call samadhi, right? I just simply was calling it agape before I knew there's a name. That yes, you are connected to everything and everyone, and it's a bit intense, but no, it's not impossible at all. It does not actually go against any spiritual teachings. If you understand the spiritual teachings, it's completely in line with everything any of the masters have ever taught.
That's right.
And so as he was doing that, there was a growing period there where it wasn't really skepticism, but it was like he was concerned. We didn't know what the difference. Are you talking to a demon or is this a tree? So there was a time period where we kind of talked through it, walked through it, and he talked to trees that gave him gifts and their packages and tricksters. So he's met a trickster. So there's been learning who what you could talk to, and they're good and bad. So there was a process of time there where even him, me, Tina, we were like, let's slow walk this because I don't understand this stuff.
I'm slower walking into telling them things because I'm the one that sees it all the time. It's always been a normal thing, but I had majority of my abilities cut off when I was in like elementary school, if I remember right, sometime in like 3rd or 2nd grade.
Well,
but
Matt, Matt, would you mind kind of taking the reins here, maybe for the rest of we've got maybe about 40 minutes. And again, audience, we're going to break this down into at least 2, maybe 3 episodes. But it's just it's been my own experience. I think you're going to hear a lot like Matt's, and a lot of other people listening today are light workers, or psychics, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever label you want to put on yourself. Is that a lot of your stories is going to it's going to be mirrored in a lot of what Matt's saying. It is in my own story. Matt, I mean, go ahead. You can go as far back as you want to go, and into whatever it is you feel like you. Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
Okay, let me close off because
Oh,
we're
yeah,
at the
yeah,
end.
yeah.
We're at the end where he rose. Because
Yep.
what happened is, like you said, we had the trees, we had a break of time, and then we've talked to we've had a lot of psychics, people that we have met either on Facebook or stuff. So we're kind of like, what are these people? How does this work? A lot of conversations and a lot of talks. So we've had a year or 2 or 3 to come along. And one of our most recent friends, she talks to elementals and stuff. And so she had suggested maybe talk to, the Bigfoot. And then we've met our neighbor, and then there's more that we've talked to, but that's the main thing. Is I want let Matt go on with the topic of where we're going, because it's way bigger than Bigfoot. Where we want to go is the power of of what's going on, and then I think that's where you want to go.
You dropped one on me the other evening, and you knew that I've been an experiencer for a while, so it didn't shock me. But like I told you, I think even our most seasoned audience members, that the dragon and the giant thing that you put together the other day. No, I think for most people that might just be that we've got to understand that this all is coming from somewhere. But so ultimately though, right, I'm not wrong in saying that by the second or the third episode here, we're going to be talking. This is going to unpack to actually the giants and the dragons. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, we'll go into the fantasy once we get to, because it's fantasy when you start hearing some of this stuff. But there's no sense. But there's so much base delay before you start talking about these things. And
I've had again my own experience with the dragons. So everybody, just hold on tight. Maddie, take it away.
Your best. Yeah, once you understand more of who Matt is, you'll be able to stomach more of this information.
And I explain how I get my confirmations. I will. Yeah, I'll explain how I got my confirmations and stuff.
Well, I want to hear a little bit about, because I'm one of the only weird people normally talking about having that childhood where I was just the oddball because nobody understood what the hell I was experiencing, and half the time, to be honest, I didn't understand a lot of what I was experiencing because I didn't have anybody to tell me.
Yeah. See, what I had is whenever I was in elementary school and stuff, I had to I had to cut it off because I was going through schooling and stuff like that. That stuff didn't help me.
Yeah, for my audience, when you say you have to cut it off, but break open what that is. For myself at a young age, right, I knew I had certain gifts at a young age, but now what that means as an adult is something completely different. But so in general, I think at a young age, we kind of notice that we're just a little different. We're a little unique. We don't fit in all the other little molds the other kids seem to fit in. So don't hold back, my audience. You go ahead and unpack whatever that means and all the nuances there.
Yeah, we could see, like, whenever you're young, you see that you can see the bigger picture. Whenever you're young, you're like, I could see through the games that many people are playing against me, or you could see a kid going around the corner, and you go around the corner, you don't see nothing there. So you're like, what is that? What was that? And then you hear voices in your head telling you that it was a kid that got abused or something like that. And you're like, what was that about? And you're just in elementary school, just learn how to walk and just learn how to get on the bus and stuff. And you see something like that. And that's like a big trip to you because, I'm seeing stuff that's not there. And the teacher told me to get back in line. Whenever I just saw someone went around the corner and told me that they got abused and got killed here. And, it's like, what happened there? You know, it's always got stuck in my head, that one story, let alone the other ones that were around.
So you're saying you're seeing spirits on the other side? Is that what you're saying, Matt?
That's whenever I was that age in elementary, yes. But I cut that ability off, and actually, I still don't want to turn it.
Did you run into somebody who had passed and decided to tell you his story? What?
Yes.
That one to me, that sparked enough interest. I want to open that one up a little bit. So, what's this kid? What's this kid you saw? Because I mean, my hand to God, I ran into a dead Mexican woman one day, and she showed me where her grave was the next day. So, I mean, go ahead, Matt.
Well, I know I could get into that, but I can get into all those topics, but I gotta like come there, but I gotta talk about it now to get people to understand how I control it and know what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing. You know,
Okay.
there's a lot of people that doesn't see that they know what they're seeing. Growing older, you know, you're older and you're like forgot how to use your abilities, and I think that's more important for people to see how they could turn it on or how their abilities are working, because they can have their abilities without knowing what they're doing. And having confirmation for me was the biggest thing for me, is having confirmation. Like, I'll start going off on that because after seeing all the Bigfoots and stuff, I never saw a Bigfoot. I saw it once, and that was my confirmation. And I'll explain that story because when we were out in Big South Fork doing our little Kentucky excavation, we got things that happened to us and stuff like that, and we went through there and did our things. I'm losing my focus. I ain't got no brain about myself, but I keep on.
It ain't no pressure here. We're just a bunch of old buddies sitting around talking about the supernatural, the paranormal. I mean, you know, take a second. It's all right.
Yeah.
You got confirmation when you started talking to Scott.
The trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was me trying to open up to them of that. I'm talking to the trees and talking to the things of this world, you know. So I started talking to the trees, and the trees were talking to me. And Mom and Dad was like, "So what's the tree saying?" And I started chopping at it, and they're like, "Are you hurting a tree?" No, the tree wants that branch off. It's already halfway broken. Stuff like that, you know.
Now, how old do you figure you were here, Matt?
Yeah, this was just a couple last year.
Yeah,
just last year.
Recently.
Just recently last year. Like February. It won't surprise me last year, you know.
It might have been actually 2 years.
Yeah. But we during that time period is when we were talking to other mediums about our experience that happened to us in Kentucky, and how the thing that was shaking in a tree was like a mutant that had no legs, and the thing that digitally cricket beep beep when it went down that way was some robotic Sasquatch weird thing that got messed up with the government or something. And then what we heard coming down the hill, the mountain that goes toof.
Now, if any of my audience is paying attention, just in the last 3 minutes, not even 3 minutes, maybe minute, you've hit on some, like, be honest with you, some people are so just like, you know, no, there's no android type Bigfoot thing, but you know what? I've got other people who will argue, and I know somebody who's found some hair that they've had it analyzed, and they're saying it's not of this world, so they're theorizing that some of these Bigfoot may actually be more like I don't know, some sort of animatron creatures or something. But
yeah, well,
man, like I don't mean to interrupt you again. I could open that one right there and want to pick on that, but I'm gonna let you keep talking.
You gotta also think of it as a medium that's saying it, you know, so they just see the energy of what's going on. You know, whenever I'm trying to like figure out who I'm talking to is a male or a female, I can't figure it out. Not physically. I don't know if they're physically a male or a female. Their energy could just be feminine, but they could be a male, you know, or they could be masculine, or they could be female, you know, and physically formed, you know. So it's
so. Why don't you talk about your discernment and then what you do?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. For some reason, I keep on going around my head, but I'm trying to get to it. You know what I'm saying?
That's my job over here. If I'm paying attention, I'm on my game. I'm supposed to rope you back in, so that's all right.
Heck yeah, man. It helps too. But we had this giant that came down the hill, right? And then that's what the medium was talking about. And that was while she was telling us that last February, sometime last year and year, whatever. We were talking to her, and that's what she told us, stuff that had happened. And she kind of helped me out. And we're listening to this other lady on YouTube, and she's her name's Chloe Aerial Sessions. She does lives on Wednesdays. Okay, she's cool though. She taught me.
So all right. So plug to Chloe.
Yeah, I got much love for her. She's like
Okay.
to my world.
Do you guys link to her on your page anywhere or on your YouTube?
Yeah, we share all the time whenever she lives.
Okay, so you guys can check her out there. That's apparently the Tennessee Kentucky Bigfoot stamp of approval there.
Yeah, whenever for spiritual stuff, she's not into the Bigfoots, but she's
into them.
She's into them now.
Our Bigfoots went down this year.
That's right. Our Bigfoots went down to meet her.
Oh, no, hold on. I'm gonna rope you back in. I'm roping you back in. I'm roping you back in. I'm roping you back in. We're going back to where we were.
I'm trying to stick on to like how I get my confirmations.
I know, but you can't go, sir. You can't go. You're right. We've got a 3-course meal here, and you're trying to drag out dessert. Damn it! I'm trying to, we're trying to nourish the entire mind, body, and spirit here. We got to save dessert for last.
You're right.
We're trying to be cool.
We're trying.
I mean, how many other ways can I tell you not to blow your load, son? Can you try to keep it on base here?
Yeah. I should know how that is. No.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask you, you can put it out there, ladies, he's single or not single, but I forgot to ask him. So, Maddie, what is the status there?
Yeah, I'm single and a little messed up. Sorry. I'm a spiritual person, so there's that for you. I ain't really, I'm spiritually and physical, so I like to get the work done and also go to sleep, A lot of people doesn't like that. Some people like to go partying. I like to work and go sleep. But yeah, I'm single and stuff like that. How I get my confirmations, I'll tell you how I saw the Bigfoot, for the first time. Because during this time was whenever we had a guy, he's from Choctaw. He came over and he helped us out a lot. And, he called all Bigfoots all predator beings. They're all predators. And at the time, I'm like, okay, I'm with them, because hell, shoot, I could see, I'm not going to get back to, I'm going to stay on focus. I'm going to stay focused this time.
Okay.
But, so every creature is a predator being. So I had the mindset of like, these beings are evil, these beings are bad, and if you see one, drop them. And, and for some reason, it never actually rang right within me. And we were doing giftings, and somehow we get certain things and how things line up to where it's like, if they wanted to kill me, they would have killed me. If they wanted me, they could have. I put myself in certain situations where I looked around, and just like didn't look to see if they would do anything, and nothing. I'm like, well, they're not obviously after me. If it was a lion that was right there, it would have took me. It's type of deal, I didn't actually put myself in that type of where I know there's a lion over there. No, I'm not going to do that. But I got my confirmation that these beings are not always out there to kill me instantly. You'll know if they're on. That's one thing I learned about predators. They are very on you. Whenever they go for the pounce to eat, they'll eat their food. They'll kill and destroy things in front of them. They'll eat it. They're hungry, they'll eat it. That's how predators.
What do you think? Where do you think this comes from? Because and just your short version of it. So why do you think that you're given this information that they're a dangerous predator, but yet your experience is obviously not that. So can you speak to maybe why we hear a lot of that? I mean, to me it's the big fearful Bigfoot stories really sell. It's, that fear porn, much more than the Bigfoot sitting there lotus, holding a flower, meditating. But to me, it's been the Bigfoot sitting there meditating's been my experience, not this fearful creature. But do you know where maybe that comes from, or maybe why that gentleman, the Native American, would have, put that in your field?
Well, what happened with him, supposedly in his family, is the Bigfoots took from his family. And who knows who threw the first stone? Did his family mess with the Bigfoot's family first?
Oh, so
He just,
his take maybe being more of an ancestral beef that's been ongoing.
right.
Yeah, it's Choctaw.
It's Choctaw, and Choctaws did have problems with Bigfoots
They
taking their families and
That's
stuff.
documented war. with Choctaw.
Documented wars between the Bigfoots and the Choctaws.
Bigfoot giant.
Yeah,
Bigfoot giant. Well, I didn't know.
I
Bigfoot giant.
had I think it was Lakota elder one time kind of give me a 30,000-foot overview about these Bigfoot wars. But I think a lot of our audience probably is already aware of them. But if not, yeah, there's entire 1 hour segments that you can watch on these. But so your take though is his experience probably was more of a, not necessarily that they're all just nasty beings, but maybe that his family had a beef long back with them.
Yes.
Okay.
We're Cherokee.
We're Cherokee blood within us.
So what I don't think.
Well, I don't know what I'm about. I'm going that way.
Go ahead. You were going to talk about that you see that your first time you saw.
Oh yeah, the first time I saw
Okay.
him. Yeah, I got off topic again. So first time I saw him, I'm trying to like talk about the spiritual part of me seeing him first before I just go out and just say this is what.
No, it's important. I want you to unpack that as much as you want to. Don't brush that over, because it's just I've had a lot of I've been on a couple shows myself, and as soon as I start to talk about the spirit side, to be honest, a lot of they don't want to hear it. But I'm like, listen, it goes with my story. I don't believe myself if I would have had my experiences if I was just running around the woods doing Devon. I was on a different track, and I think that's what allowed me to interact with them, if you will, or had them interact with me, whichever way it occurred. But so I don't want you to skip over that part, although for a lot of people they'd rather hear you talk about the fearful stuff. If that's not your take on it, if that's not been your experience, well then that's just not been. And if you're going to tell my audience that maybe finding a spiritual path, and if they want to have a Bigfoot experience, and aligning to their higher self, well, I'm not going to be opposed to you putting that out there, brother. And this is the Christ Light Love Healing and Training Center. So if you've got any sort of wisdom in that area about how you feel it's this creature's impacted your own life and why, and if it's anything to do with your spiritual track, then you take as much time as you want on that.
Right. Okay. Well, I just go straight to my sighting. Then I might be able to remember how to see my spiritual side. How to explain why and how I got to that point of seeing it. So I went out. Every night I go out, locked up chickens, make sure all the chickens are accounted for. After every day, we've got free range chickens. So I went out there and checked on the chickens, and I go by the cow field and take a leak. All my problems always starts with me taking a leak. That's beside the point. I just noticed a light above the trees that was flashing on and off. I thought that was kind of weird, so I looked up, and it was a full moon, and the full moon had a tree right in front of it, and it was waving to one side of the moon to the other side of the moon, going like that, waving all the way back and forth. And on this side over here somewhere, there was a black shadow that was in there, waving all the way that way, and then leaning on this way. I saw him do it 3 times, and then as he came down, I could see the tree slowing down, and he was about like right here whenever it finally kind of subsided. But so I saw that Bigfoot right up here behind right across the cow field.
How far do you figure? Like, could you hit it with a rock 50 feet, 100 feet, 100 yards? Any idea?
I could shoot him with a BB gun. Oh, one of those 10 pump BB guns. If I pump it up at 10 max, I could
So,
possibly shoot.
so were you seeing the silhouette then?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, you got the full moon shining a light, and then what I see is all the shadows of this.
So not able to see the detail of the face necessarily, right?
Too far away.
How about, can you describe more detail of that silhouette?
I was in shock and awe that I'm seeing something in the back of my woods that's shaking the hell out of a tree and shaking the heck out of a tree up here. So I was just like, I didn't want to see it. I'm going to go back inside and like go to bed. Like, I don't want to deal with this. That was me at the time. So I was like looking at it 2 or 3 times, trying to look away like, this ain't real. Like, I'm the only one here and my mom and dad's inside, but I'm like, he's already coming down from the tree. I'm like, oh Lord, I'm just going to go back inside. So I didn't really focus on what I'm seeing, but I definitely focused enough to see that there was a figure that looked like a human up on top of that tree that was coming down. And that really got my heart, like, not like pumping like crazy or anything. I've had other experiences, just like it pumped a couple of times, like, oh my gosh. This confirmation that all this is actually real. And that's what messed me up, because I was just talking spiritually about a night or 2 nights prior, saying, since I think these Bigfoots are all like predators, and I haven't had a predator encounter attacking me yet, then I was talking to these Bigfoots, can you help me out into seeing you from a far distance? Like you being in your prime, and just like, if you're a young Bigfoot, just shake the heck out of a tree across the field somewhere. It's just far away from me. And there he was. The next couple of days, that night.
You think that was a day, 2 days before you kind of put that out there? That thought, that prayer?
It could have been a week for all I know, but I remember it was being a day or 2 prior. I remember I did it twice, and there it was. The next time I saw it, next time I went out to the backyard at night, there he was, shaking the heck out of the tree.
Yeah, no, I've kind of done something similar. They can definitely read your thoughts, and they can respond, and even in real time, to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when we were talking to Michelle, medium that we were talking to last year or something like that, last year or 2 years ago. But when we were talking to her, that was during the same time period when I was like trying to clear up my energy. No, it was last year. Okay, it was last year, and I just cleared out everything inside of me. Like I didn't want to hear no voices. I didn't want to see nothing. I don't want to feel nothing. I didn't want no spiritual encounter touching me at all. I didn't want nothing. So no spiritual connections with anything. So I cut off everything. And when I did that, I literally felt like, I even cut off God too. God told us in the Bible to test him too. Right. So I even told that to God, like, I don't even want to hear your voice for a while till I could figure out who I am, what I am thinking, and what I am doing in my days, because I need to know what I'm doing in my day. I need to focus on what I'm going to do and accomplish for the day. I need to think about the projects I'm on and fix them and finish them, So I'm trying to, I was doing the spiritual stuff, and then I messed up sometime, and then I had to focus, get my focus. My dad's very intentional. My dad.
What did God do to you?
I'm getting there. Okay. Yeah, oh yeah. I can't forget nothing. The spirit. The spirit comes to me again, so it keeps reiterating in my head. So I guess I just go to it. So whenever I did that, God put a stamp on my head saying that I'm clear. You know, like one of those big old square stamps, just like boom. He's like, you're clear. He literally cleared me. I was able to not hear nothing around me. I was able to, all ringing in my ears was gone. Everything was gone. My teeth wasn't even lit up before this. Everything was just like, any weirdness is gone. Like I didn't hear nothing. Everything was cleared. And in my head. So whenever I went to bed, there was no dreams. It was pitch black throughout the whole night. It was pitch black. I was in nothing. I heard nothing throughout the whole night, and I was in so much peace. I was able to sleep so well because I know what I'm dealing with now, and then a few days later, I was able to see the projects we're on. So I think about the projects we're on. So I'm able to focus even clearer on the things I'm on, you know, whatever it was we were working on. And so God put a stamp on my head. I was cleared throughout this whole summer, this past summer. And about, what was it? I don't know, sometime in the fall time, my teeth started glowing. My wisdom teeth started lighting up. And we were talking to Scott somehow.
Now wait a minute. Go back to the teeth thing. Go back to the teeth thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to unpack that a little bit. Now I've got some background on meridian lines, and I understand, you know, about lining even the teeth up, and that, you know, these are important things. But maybe that's where you're making connection. I don't know, but that's where I'm going to stop and say, all right, it's getting about yay high. We're going to have to thin down the shit a little bit here because my audience is going to say, what the hell's this teeth thing?
Yeah, it's like tasting copper in your mouth. Your tongue tastes like copper. Your teeth taste like copper. It just tastes electric, you know, just copper tasting, metallic tasting. And right now I'm getting right now, but majority of the time I don't taste it. You know, it just feels like I've noticed with myself, like if you get too much radiation, too much sun, you know, your teeth might light up. And I was outside all day today, so.
But again, light up. You're going to have to open that one up a little bit.
Am I saying light up? I mean, metallic tasting in my mouth is what I'm trying to say, you know? So it's like my mouth, whenever my mouth tastes like metal, I say it's lighting up because it's like energy's coming through. Is what it feels like, a bunch of energy coming through.
Now you do know one of the side effects of all these nasty chemtrails they're dumping on us is a lot of people will taste metal because you're breathing in heavy, you know, particulate heavy metals. You don't think it has anything to do with it?
Yeah, it could be. I haven't mentioned.
But whatever your experience, right? Whatever this lighting up, you're feeling it's an increase of energy through the mouth.
Yes. I mean, this could be just for what I had today, you know. But whenever I'm talking to the Bigfoot or certain things, whenever I'm actually talking to other spirits, my teeth actually lights up. Well, whenever I was talking to this one being, my teeth lights up at that time whenever I'm talking to him.
And then you don't have a bunch of metal in your mouth, do you?
No, I got pure straight when I was born teeth. All of them.
Spring
water raised teeth right here.
They don't do doctors and dentists.
I don't do no doctors, no dentists. No
I'm trying to play the host that, you know, isn't just going to let everything slide. So like, right. If you told me you had a mouthful of mercury, I'd say, well, yeah, it could be the mercury.
Yeah.
But so you tell me you ain't got a mouthful of mercury. No, you know, it's interesting. I think a lot of times, and Matt, is just because myself, a lot of things I've experienced, you know, I can try to describe them, but it's sometimes it's almost like, you know, it sounds like your mom might be a born again, you know, shaman, maybe in a past life. And if, you know, you're experiencing sort of sensory things that would be out of what we'd consider the normal, this could be what you're kind of describing to my audience. But again, if you know, some of my audience, I'm sure, are shaman now, or they're, you know, on their way, and you know, some of this is going to make sense. But so Scott is the name of the Bigfoot, right? that you had your first interaction with, correct?
Yeah, he got that name from us because Bigfoot's, from all I was hearing from him, is that they don't got names for each other. They just go Bach, Bach, Bach. That's how they talk. They don't really talk. They don't really talk. From what I'm hearing from him, they don't really talk to each other. They're just like, Bach, you want some food? Bach, whatever the heck it is,
Well, you kind of think about it, Maddie. Think about this, and that at your essence, not to interrupt again, I'm good at doing that, but at your essence, right? I mean, right now you're meat suit Matt, right? But you've got so many incarnations before that. You'll have so many after this. So in all reality, you've got a frequency and a vibration that goes far beyond Matt.
Right. Well, I can go on to a whole topic about the reincarnation because this is our last video. I was talking about it on Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. My channel. Never mind.
I don't know what's here, but you're talking about that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, that's another topic, man. That's a long topic.
I want to dig in. Can we dig in maybe a little bit more? I have the feeling the T thing's going to come back up. Can we talk a little bit more about because it sounds like as well as now known. Okay, you've got the background Cherokee, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that would explain a lot of the connection to the nature stuff. Can you share a little bit more, maybe about more of that nature connection into those plants?
Okay, yeah. See, we've got our own garden. We got broccoli and kale. And this past winter, we had 9 inches of snow. And after the snow melted and we uncovered our plants, they start singing a song. Back to life, back to reality. See, they were singing this song. I didn't hear it. I came out the house and I started hearing this sound come in my head. And it was getting louder and louder as I got closer to the plants. And when I got by that gate where that plants are, they were just singing. They were just loving that sun. They're just singing that song. And, they're not like, from what I can tell, they're not picking up on AM or FM frequencies. They're picking up on a different frequency. And I was told this through this light language. It's another thing is it's light language is the way I want to bring up. It's like the Christ word, the Christ light. Light languages. They don't pick up on frequencies. They have that one frequency that we all have. It comes from the source, Christ energy. So it's like gamma rays. You know how this is how I get my confirmations by trying to look at things scientifically, even though I'm not a scientist or anything. I just get confirmations from seeing things. So there's AM and FM and there's microwaves. If you look at microwaves and how the scientist describes it, it's very jagged waves.
Yeah. Funny enough, I studied them when I was a little kid. I used to pick up books about Bigfoot and AM, FM radio waves. Why those two? I don't know, but I know radio waves very well. Yep. About, the AM and FM are generally, kind of a slope and they're not real good for your body. But when we started getting into Wi-Fi and 5G, it's jagged just like this.
It's like microwaving, but you gotta think microwaves are only good for short areas. They don't go for a long distance.
Yeah,
they're very strong, very short. But what about gamma rays? The radioactive gamma rays. I forget what they call it. I guess it's called gamma rays. That radioactive. There's what type of radioactives? There's A and B. Gamma. So I am talking about the gamma.
Yeah.
Okay, so gamma rays. It's very dangerous, right? Well, it's such a long range wave, but with more power in it. So that gives a destructive DNA cells to your body and to things around it. So that there's another one that's even longer of a wave, and that's the Christ light wave. It's coming from the sun itself, I'm not saying like the sun is the sun god that everybody should pray to. No, I'm saying that I don't know. You know, there's
It
more
the,
at that.
the sun to me seems to be at least conscious at the very minimum. I mean, there's a lot of stuff when you look at Revelation about different angels in those times, coming out of the sun. I've got Buddhist friends who can sun gaze. I mean, for an hour in the middle of high noon with no coverage and not go blind. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to poo-poo anything you have to say about the sun, and I don't, and my audience, I don't. If you look and see who Christ really was, yeah, no, go on about your son, Maddie.
I've done,
Sorry, I interrupted you again.
done the sun gazing at the peak sky when the sun's up. I've done that, but I practiced prior by looking at
You
the
got to, you got to.
yeah. I practiced with the morning sun. I didn't know. That was me being in middle school, actually elementary, middle school, and high school. Every time I took the bus out to the school, we passed this one area where the sun's rising, or where I get to the school, there's a spot where the sun's rising. I just stay in the light and just look at the sun the whole time. And that's what helped me to see throughout midday the sun, you know. But since I haven't been looking at the morning sun for quite some time, I can't really look at the sun for quite long like I used to. Um, but that's besides the point, I think.
But so
Oh,
it's
on the point, the gamma rays, you know, God's got his own light, and he sends his own information through that. Christ light, you know, he sends his own information through that. Everyone got the point of source within them. Even Jesus said that you don't have to. There's nothing in the Bible for you to read. There's nothing for you in this world for you to know. Everything that you need to know is within you, within me, within everybody. As long as everybody goes back to the source within themselves, we all have this information within them. It's just trusting yourself and getting confirmations. And confirmations, you know, when they come to you in chills, goosebumps, that works. You just gotta trust in your surroundings, and do not fear. Fear is the first thing that'll make you not get no information. You'll lose information if you start fearing. If there's anything that you're afraid of, then you're misunderstanding what God has built. You got to think God built everything to be good. It's everything that God built, not everything that God. It's everything that does something bad has their own intentions and done it bad. You know, so it.
But you were talking to Scott,
Okay.
and then you had problems with chills and stuff.
Oh, yes. I'll go in that because I was talking to two beings, Scott and George. And these are two different beings. One's a giant, the other one's a Bigfoot. Scott got his name because he's Scottish. You know, he got Irish blood in him, that big giant blood in him, and also Cherokee within him, his mom. But that's besides the point. When I noticed when I was talking to Scott, my teeth would light up. I was talking about earlier about the copper tasting in my teeth and tongue and the mouth and metallic. And then whenever I talked to George, I noticed I get into like fevers, not like the fever, just the shakes, kind of like nervousness, kind of like, oh, what am I dealing with here? You know, just like, kind of scary, you know, the shivers. And I was like, I'm not scared of him. So what's going on here? And then whenever I stop talking to him, it instantly goes away. Instantly goes away. And between George and Scott,
George talked to Scott.
yeah, between George and Scott, they talk to each other. And George asked Scott if his teeth lights up. And Scott said, yeah, his teeth lights up too. And George is like, well, that's interesting because so is Matthew, me. You know, I my teeth lights up whenever I talk to Scott. So George making the connection that the way we was talking at the time was more of a physical connection where my vibration messes with his vibration messes with my vibration, and same with George because George himself was getting the shivers and the shakes like I was, and he was confused of why he's getting shakes and the nervousness. And like, this is not the way we're supposed to be talking. There's got to be a different way we got to be talking. So George and Scott went down somewhere and talked to that person.
Chloe, Australia.
Chloe. I didn't want to go down to that topic, but George and Scott went down in Australia, talked to Chloe down there, and her beings that she talks to and stuff like that down there. And they learned how they talk and the best way to communicate with us beings, humans, and them talking to other beings and how from distance. And they learned.
All right, Matt. All right, Matt. So we've just hit the top of the hour. Now,
Okay.
I could probably there's a few things that I just feel honestly as a host, because I don't want to leave your story missing anything, and because I want to make sure my audience knows exactly where you are in this story, that we're going to save for the second part. Throw Pops in the picture with us again. Why don't you two come back?
There you go.
All right. So, all right. So guys, we're going to have to do a second part. And I'm going to have, I've got a few things that I want to try to hone back in on. Hey, it's, I wanted to kind of, Matt, obviously I wanted to rope you in there because I think we're going to have some leeway into this bigger picture of where you guys are now. But you know, guys, more than anything, I'm grateful and greatly appreciative that you decided to come on. Number one, my show. Number two, that you decided to share it with the world, because, you know, as soon as I get off my slow internet connection and get to someplace I can download this without it taking, you know, me a couple days, it'll be done. So it'll be up here before the end of the weekend. But yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Again, thanks for coming on, and everybody follow up with us again here next week for part 2. Thank you.